Hey everybody, in this episode I'm going to show you how to use the Sky Replacement feature in Photoshop. Let's take a look at an image I have up right now in Lightroom. Now you can see this particular photo, it's pretty dull. Nobody is going to want to buy this photo, so we need to give it a little bit of help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Lightroom and tell it to edit in Photoshop. Under the Edit menu, you're going to find Sky Replacement. Now when you click on it, give it a few seconds because it needs to try and figure out where the sky is in your image. Once the first Sky Replacement is done, go ahead and click on that drop-down box. You're going to see the different types of skies that you can use. Now personally, I prefer to use my own skies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by creating a folder for my skies. Next, I'll import my skies in the Photoshop. I have a lot of different sunset and sunrise photos I've taken here in Arizona, so I got a good library to choose from. It just guarantees that I'm not going to be using the same skies that other people are using, so I try not to use the skies that are built into Photoshop if I can help it. Let's find a sky that looks natural with the angle of this photo. Now I'll be looking for a sky that has a low horizon on it because that is what this image has, so it's going to make the clouds look more natural. Okay, now that we've selected the sky that we want, let's take a look at some of the settings that are available to us. The first setting is Shift Edge. Now this is going to determine where the border between the sky and the original image begins. Now too much in one direction, the sky starts to replace some of the ground. Too much in the other direction, the new sky is hidden behind the old sky. The Fade Edge slider sets the amount of fading or feathering from the sky image to the original photo along the edges. Be careful. If you have any vegetation that's intersecting the sky, the setting could give that area around the vegetation really an unnatural look. The brightness is a simple one. It just simply changes the brightness of the sky. Now matching the sky color, the temperature of the sky and the temperature of the ground can be matched in using two different methods. First of all, we have the temperature slider. Now the temperature slider is going to adjust the temperature of the sky to warmer or cooler temperatures. The color adjustment slider, this is going to be an opacity slider. It determines how strongly the foreground is harmonized with the sky. A setting of 0 will not make any adjustments to the ground. Again, you want to try and give a natural look. So if you have a very rose-colored sky but a very yellow ground, it's probably not going to work out too well. You're going to want to balance those two colors together. Next up is scale. Now the scale is going to resize the sky image. You can also move the sky around after scaling it to position the more interesting parts of the sky where you want them. Just be careful that you don't leave any of the original sky along the edges. Flip is pretty self-explanatory, it just flips the background. Now your lighting mode. Your lighting mode is going to determine how the two images, where they're intersecting, are going to come together. So to explain these, I went out to Adobe's website. So the first one is multiply. Looks at the color information in each channel and multiplies the base color by the blend color. The result color is always a darker color. That's something you need to remember there. And we also have screen. Now this looks at each channel's color information and multiplies the inverse of the blend and base colors. The result color is always a lighter color. Alright, so we're going to learn how to also adjust the darkening or the lightening to continue to get a natural look. Alright, let's look at this next one here. Foreground lighting. Now this is used to set the contrast for the foreground. A 0 setting means it's not going to make any adjustments for you, but this is very useful if you selected screen as your lighting mode, so you can tone that brightness down, or if you selected multiply, you can bring that darkness back up again and again achieve that natural look. The edge lighting slider, this controls the lighting adjustments applied to the edges of your sky image and your ground. Now, a setting of 0 means it's not going to make any changes. This is another one you need to be careful with. It can also produce halos on the horizon or halos around vegetation. Now your output, this is how you're going to determine when you're done with Sky Replacement, how it presents it back to Photoshop. Now we've got a couple choices here. We can do a duplicate layer. In that case, it's going to have one layer with all the adjustments all contained in that layer, so you can't make any more adjustments to it. Or you can do a new layer, and this is going to give you a couple of layers with the sky, the base, and also the masking that was used to adjust those layers. Before I give you my final thoughts on this feature, I'd like to invite you to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. Also, if you would like to support this channel further, please check out patreon.com/EWJ. Sky Replacement can make your photos look very unnatural if you're not careful, particularly if there's water in the foreground image, because the water is going to reflect the colors of the sky, so you may have to do some additional editing to try and get the water to at least have the appearance of reflecting the sky. That's probably the biggest hiccup that I see in here, and a potential path for Adobe to make improvements in future versions of the Sky Replacement feature. But personally, I like it. It lets you take dull images that people just that I would even bother developing, because I know people won't be interested in purchasing them, and it brings new life to them. All right, everybody, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Y'all take care.